Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. So I am going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Alexis Sanchez. Then after that I am going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Pogba. Then I'm also going to be giving you some latest news on Thomas Partey. So yeah, so these quite a few topics to delve into, but we will start with the news on Alexis Sanchez. So according to recent reports, Alexis Sanchez does want to make a return back to Chile, and he actually wants to finish his career in Chile. Now reportedly he wants to join Universidad de Chile, who I think have won the league on 18 occasions. Also to the Universidad de Chile president has also confirmed that Alexis Sanchez wants to finish his career there. So that's according to recent reports, because obviously Sanchez began his career in Chile, and of course he's born in Chile, he's Alexis Sanchez. So reflecting on this, you've got to say this is an escape route for Manchester United, because obviously we don't want him back at the football club. But like I said, we will struggle to offload Alexis Sanchez permanently, reflecting on his substantial wages at Manchester United, because Sanchez is on 400 grand a week, rising up to £500,000 a week based on the image rights and the bonuses. And I did say, his wages, are really having a bad effect on the football club. Inter Milan, like I said, don't want to get Alexis Sanchez permanently, but there you go. But even though, we loaned him out to Inter Milan last summer, we're still paying the vast majority of his wages. We're still paying him like £300,000 a week. Inter Milan are paying like the other £100,000 a week. But Sanchez is international manager. He came out the other week, like updated you, and he was explaining, how much of a traumatic, torturous year that Alexis Sanchez has had, because he's endured a very difficult time since he's gone out on loan at Inter Milan. I think he's only made a couple of starts in the Serie A because he has had an ankle injury. And also, too, he endured a difficult 18 months at Manchester United. Don't forget, we got Alexis Sanchez back in January 2018 as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal. Now, obviously, Sanchez didn't live up to expectations at Man United as we all thought he would have done, because, like I said, he enjoyed a good 3.5, 4 years with Arsenal when he was younger. He also did very well at Barcelona when he was younger. Don't forget, he played under Pep Guardiola's guidance and that. So I thought, he would have done very well for us. But he wasn't an exceptional signing. Sanchez, I think, for us, made 45 appearances in all competitions and scored around 5 goals. There was reports coming out quite a few weeks ago saying that Sanchez is set to stay at Manchester United and he will return to the football club after his loan spell with Inter Milan. Don't forget, back in January, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say that Sanchez, will come back and prove everybody wrong. So there's some people saying he should be given a second chance at Manchester United. And don't forget, of course, Alexis Sanchez was our last number 7. But I don't want Alexis Sanchez back at the football club. And I think he is in his early 30s now. Don't forget, last summer, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, he didn't want him as part of our squad this season, because don't forget, Sanchez had the training ground bust up with Mason Greenwood last summer. So maybe that's one of the main explanations, why Solskjaer said, he didn't want Sanchez as part of the squad this season. But yeah, so he's still got a couple of years remaining on his contract with the football club. But despite the fact that he does want to go to Universidad de Chile, Sanchez, there was also reports coming out from Sky Sports yesterday and quite a few other media outlets saying that Sanchez, could actually, remain in Italy, because it says Inter Milan's rivals, Roma, have expressed an interest in Alexis Sanchez. They're keen on getting him on loan after his loan spell at Inter Milan. Very unlikely, that Roma, will try and get him permanently. Obviously, reflecting on how inconsistent he's been and his record of injuries, because he's actually, very injury prone, is Alexis Sanchez. But yeah, it says that Roma, are interested in getting him on loan next season. If Alexis Sanchez was to go out on loan at Roma, he would be reuniting with Chris Smalling, because don't forget, Chris Smalling joined Roma on a 1-year loan last summer from us. And don't forget, I give you the news, didn't I, on Chris Smalling recently. And, according to Paulo Finesca, who's the Roman manager, he said Chris Smalling doesn't want to return to Manchester United. And he explained how amazing Chris Smalling's been for Roma. I've watched him a few times at Roma, and I've got to say, I think he has been a revelation. Paulo Finesca was also talking about him, how humble and how professional he's been for Roma. But Roma, do actually, want to try and get him on a permanent transfer. But maybe, due to this coronavirus pandemic, Roma may not be able to get him on a permanent transfer. Basically, we are going to get rid of him permanently. Basically, we are going to definitely get rid of him permanently, because I don't think we'll take him back at the football club, because he won't get in the team anyway. But obviously, we'll let him go to the highest bidder. And I think we've said we want in the £20 million range for Smalling. Smalling did enjoy 9 years at the football club. But there you go. And obviously, as it stands now, Sanchez is reuniting with Romelu Lukaku. Because obviously, we let Lukaku go to Inter Milan last summer. So yeah, this is a lot of positivity that's coming out, because we've now found an escape route. Saying that he wants to make a return to Chile in that. And yeah, like I said, Sanchez has been facing a dilemma, because Inter Milan don't want him permanently. We don't want him back at the football club. I don't think we need Alexis Sanchez anyway. So there you go. So that's the latest news regarding him. Now, I want to give you the news on Paul Pogba. So, the Juventus director Fabio Paratici, however you pronounce his name, he's come out and said basically that Juventus and no other teams can really afford Paul Pogba due to the coronavirus pandemic. So basically, he says teams will struggle to meet his wage demands and stuff like that. So Juventus have basically, made a decision on their chase for Paul Pogba. Now, Juventus, have been linked with him. There has been a hell of a lot of narratives in the mainstream media about, Paul Pogba making a return back to Juventus. Because, Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus. But, I think the vast majority of his performances, since he rejoined Man United, have been, totally comparison to his runs at Juventus. Now, as you all know, swap deals have been on the agenda, because, it says that Juventus are willing to offer at least one of their players in exchange for Paul Pogba, or 2 of their players in exchange for Paul Pogba. The players' names that have been mentioned is like Aaron Ramsey. There's been talks about him coming. There's also been talks about Miralem Pjanic coming as well. I think also too Douglas Costa's been put into the equation. So yeah, but like I said to you before, swap deals are very, very rare in the modern game, But me personally speaking, I think now Paul Pogba is staying at Manchester United. I'll reiterate some of the stuff that I mentioned on my video that I did yesterday morning, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come out himself and said that Paul Pogba wants to stay. He wants Paul Pogba to stay at Manchester United. The main explanations is because he wants him to build a partnership with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. And he's also told Paul Pogba he wants to, make him a key part of the club's future. So Paul Pogba probably thinks Paul Pogba is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. But obviously, revert back to, before all the football season was suspended, like I've said on numerous occasions before, you had Solskjaer saying, that Paul Pogba will remain at Man United next season. I think he said that in Austria. And Paul Pogba, that earlier on that particular week, did actually say he was interested in staying at Man United, and he wants to extend his contract at the football club and stuff like that. But yeah, I've just been reading the Daily Express, and they've actually said now that Paul Pogba has changed his stance on his transfer exit, and now reportedly he's keen on staying at Manchester United. But he's wanted to leave the club, Paul Pogba, for quite some time. He's said this on quite a few occasions that he wants to leave the club. Don't forget he made the admission last summer saying that he wanted to leave Manchester United because he was seeking for a new challenge. He even publicly admitted that he wanted to leave Manchester United. But since he rejoined us from Juventus back in 2016, he's basically had a long-running transfer saga. he's had a long-running transfer saga in that. But I think, Paul Pogba will be here next season. It does say if Paul Pogba does not leave us in the summer, we will extend his contract. But, we'd only let him leave anyway if our asking price was met. And we've said we're wanting the £80 million range for Pogba. I can't see us letting him go for £60 or £70 million because there has been reports saying that if we were to let him go, we'd only get £60 or £70 million for the player. We'd only get £60 or £70 million for the player in that. Like I said, and I've always said it, if Paul Pogba does leave Manchester United, I think he will go to Juventus. He'll go back to Juventus. If he doesn't go to Juventus, I think he'll go to Real Madrid because Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked with him. Don't forget last summer, Real Madrid, wanted the player. His actual preference was to move to Real Madrid last summer. But don't forget, we revealed out last summer, we wanted around 180 million for Pogba. So we was demanding actually over double than what we paid for him from Juventus back in 2016. Real Madrid were not willing to meet that £180 million asking price. And like I said, Paul Pogba was talking a hell of a lot about Real Madrid last year. About, his dreams of playing under Zinedine Zidane. Obviously, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, he's got a good relation with Real Madrid. Mini Raiola's had talks with Real Madrid. He's also had talks with Juventus. Mini Raiola, at least in the last couple of years, has been working on getting his client a transfer away from Man United completed. I think Ed Woodward's had quite a few negotiations with Mini Raiola to try and resolve Paul Pogba's future. And, we've been very, very critical of Mini Raiola, reflecting on some of the comments that he said this season. But it said, I think it was last week now. Yeah, it was last week. I think it might have been the week before. I think it was last week, though. These reports were stemming from France, and they've said that Zinedine Zidane wants Pogba. Real Madrid have identified him as one of their priority targets, even though they have got quite a few other players on their agenda. And Madrid did recruit a good 5 or 6 players in last summer. Like I said, they're also looking to offload players. But yeah, there's also quite a few other clubs that are in for Pogba. Don't forget, it says PSG have recently entered the race for him. Don't forget the other week it said that PSG had offered us 2 of their players in exchange for Pogba. And the 2 players that they had offered us was Julian Draxler and Angel Di Maria, don't forget. I can't see, him going to PSG, to be quite honest with you. I think for PSG to get Paul Pogba, disregarding the swap deal involved, I think for PSG to be able to afford him, they'd have to either offload Neymar and Mbappe, who of course they are the 2 most expensive players in the world at the moment. Also too, it says that Inter Milan have been interested in Paul Pogba. Inter Milan have recently expressed their interest, and that's according to Tutto Sport, which is an Italian source. Inter Milan, of course, recruited quite a few players in, haven't they? They got obviously got Ashley Young offers in January. They got Alexis Sanchez offers last year, yeah. They got Romelu Lukaku offers last summer. Don't forget they got Christian Eriksen from Tottenham back in January. Inter Milan though did loan Mario Icardi out. He's on loan at PSG. Is Mario Icardi? I think Inter Milan, by the way, looking to get rid of him permanently. Mario Icardi. I think they've said they're wanting the £60 million range for him. They've also got Ivan Perisic out on loan at Bayern Munich. So I think they're looking to get rid of those 2 players. Then if they can get rid of those 2 players, then, they may be able to fund the move for Paul Pogba. So yeah, Inter Milan have already recruited 3 of our players. So reportedly now they're interested in Pogba. If Pogba was to go to Inter Milan, he would be reuniting with Antonio Conte because Paul Pogba's played under his guidance in the past. So there you go. So they're the clubs that are in for him. And don't forget Barcelona have also been in for Pogba in the past as well. But like I said, Paul Pogba's only played 8 times this season for the football club. His appearances have been limited due to his injuries. And don't forget, Paul Pogba gave an interview to the United podcast quite a few weeks ago. And he was talking about, the issues that he's had with injuries this season, how much it has infuriated him. But Paul Pogba has come out and said he will hit the ground running, when the football season does eventually resume, because that's when Paul Pogba will be back from injury, because he has been stepping up his fitness regime, which is very, very good. Also, too, don't forget, quite a few weeks ago, he responded to the criticism that he has received from Graham Souness, Paul Pogba, because Graham Souness has been criticising him persistently. Paul Pogba basically, responded to the criticism and basically said he didn't recognise Graham Souness and all of this. Paul Pogba was also talking about what convinced him, to leave Man United back in 2012, because don't forget, we had Pogba under Ferguson when he was a lot younger. We got him from Lee Harvey, but we had to let him go because his appearances were limited under Ferguson. Only made a couple of first team appearances, but we did let him go on a free transfer and that. So yeah, these were a few of the stuff he said, said to the United podcast. But he also said, his mother always knew he would return to Man United at some point, which he did Paul Pogba. Don't forget Rio Ferdinand, he's given his verdict on Paul Pogba. He's been talking a hell of a lot about Paul Pogba recently. Actually Rio Ferdinand's urged Paul Pogba to leave the club. He also hit back at Graham Souness and Roy Keane, because like I said, Graham Souness and Roy Keane have been Paul Pogba's biggest critics in that. Rio Ferdinand said it's down to Paul Pogba himself to make a decision on his Manchester United future. So there you go. But I always said if we let him go, it's very imperative that we get more money for the player than what we paid for him. Definitely, because at the moment, he is our most expensive signing, is Paul Pogba. So there you go. One of the highest paid players at the club as well. Like I said, he's on £300,000 a week. And he's only the age of 27, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Wayne Rooney as well has recently come out, by the way. Wayne Rooney's come out, and he's actually revealed that Rayville Morrison was actually much better than Paul Pogba. I don't agree with him on that aspect. I really, really don't agree with him on that. As well, Paul Pogba, enjoyed a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. Pogba got one of his best wishes when Mourinho went. So yeah, and I think one of the best we've seen of Paul Pogba was probably in that 3-month period anyway, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. That's when we really saw the best of him. But yeah, I think he's going to be staying at Man United. I'm not sure about the foreseeable future, but I think, he will now be here next season. United fans have got different perceptions on him, and I think he would go well alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. But there has been quite a few midfielders on our agenda, who could replace Paul Pogba at the football club. Don't forget, it recently come out on Donny van de Beek, and it actually says from the Spanish publication via the Sports Witness, it said that we've identified Donny van de Beek as our number one candidate to replace Pogba. Saul Niguez has been on our agenda, to possibly replace Paul Pogba at the football club. Obviously, there's been reports saying we need to sell Paul Pogba and quite a few other players, to fund moves for the likes of Sancho and Jack Grealish. So there you go. But I think now he does want to stay at Manchester United, and that is stemming from the Daily Express. If we could get him a new long-term contract, then he would be the foreseeable future. But I think we'll just probably extend his contract. I don't know, but obviously it said the other week we've decided not to trigger that 1-year extension on his contract anyway. So there you go. So that is the news on him. Now, let's delve into news on Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. Now, I've actually been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Thomas Partey, haven't I, on a regular basis. Now, again, I was reading some reports yesterday. I actually read it in the Daily Express, and they reportedly said that Thomas Partey prefers a move to Manchester United over Arsenal. But I think there's one issue. We don't actually want to sign Thomas Partey in the summer, according to the Daily Express. Now, reiterate what I said on my video, I think, it was last week. Sadiq Adams, he came out, who of course specifies on African transfers. He actually said that Thomas Partey, wants to leave Atletico Madrid. He's got no intentions of extending his contract, but he did say that his preference is to join Manchester United. So he said the player wanted to come to Man United and all of that. Like I said, I do really, really like Thomas Partey. He has got a £43 million release clause in his... He's got a £43 million release clause in his Atletico Madrid contract as Partey. I think he's still got a contract with Atletico Madrid until 2023. Atletico Madrid, of course, have been in talks over, extending his contract and that. It did say that Atletico Madrid were willing to double his wages from $65,000 to $130,000 a week. And it says if he was to sign a new contract, his release clause would increase. I think it'd increase to around £90 million. But he said last week, that he was unhappy with Atletico Madrid's contract offer, and he's made it clear he does want to leave Atletico Madrid and that. And he is predominantly a defensive midfielder, is Thomas Partey, and we're in search for a holding midfielder. And he's 25 or 26 years of age? I know he's in his mid-20s. He's in his mid-20s, is Thomas Partey. But I think, Atletico Madrid want to do everything they can to try and convince Thomas Partey to stay. Because like I said, Atletico Madrid have lost a few of their imperative players in recent years. Don't forget they lost Griezmann last summer. They also lost Diego Godin. They lost Rodri last year. They did recruit quite a few players in, but I just don't think they want to lose Thomas Partey now. Now, obviously, Arsenal have been relentlessly linked with him as well. Thomas Partey. I think there's actually no chance that Arsenal could get him. There's been reports coming out saying that Arsenal, may have to sell at least one or two players, to fund the move for Thomas Partey. There's been talk saying, they could sell up to 4 players, to fund the move for Partey. And I think the players that, could leave Arsenal in the summer, I think Aubameyang could leave. Well, Aubameyang probably will leave, so there's more than cuts about it. I think he probably will be leaving, Will Aubameyang. They're also planning on getting rid of Alexander Lacazette. Lucas Torreira's also been mentioned. Guendouzi, he's another player that Arsenal could get rid of. But yeah, I think there's a good chance, that Arsenal could get him. He did say the other week Arsenal may only sign him on one condition, and that's if they get qualification for the Champions League. This is what it had said. But yeah, Arsenal are in search for a holding midfielder. Now, Di Marzio came out last week, who was a very reliable Italian journalist, and he's spoken on quite a few topics, but he came out and said that Atletico Madrid would be willing to sell Thomas Partey if the right offer came in. But he also put their other players into the equation, they'd be willing to offload any of their players if the right offer came in, and this is what Di Marzio said. Arsenal, I think, have been in negotiations with Atletico Madrid for quite some time. You had Thomas Partey's agent the other week, denying any talks with Arsenal. But, Thomas Partey's father the other week also advised his son to leave Atletico Madrid and that. So Arsenal do want to get a deal finalised for Thomas Partey. I think they've held several meetings, with his representatives, to try and get a deal over the line. But if Thomas Partey was to come to the Premier League, do you think he, would succeed? Obviously, hasn't played in the Premier League as yet. He's been a long-serving player at Atletico Madrid. I think he's now into his 8th season with them. He's made over 150 appearances for them in all competitions, but has spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid as Partey. So that's the latest news on him. Obviously, you saw my videos that I did yesterday. You saw my video that I did yesterday night, didn't you? I give you Manchester United's best players and worst players under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Of course, last week I did a video, didn't I? Giving you Man United's best and worst signings since the Alex Ferguson era. And that. I think I did actually 3 videos yesterday. But yeah, I keep you up to date as much as I can, I do. Like I said to you, we are planning on getting rid of around 5 or 6 players in the summer transfer market, and we're hoping to generate over £100 million for their departures. I've already gone through with you, the players I expect to leave Manchester United. I expect us to get rid of Phil Jones, because Phil Jones can't even get into the team now. Phil Jones is into his 9th season at Man United. He has been here since the Alex Ferguson era. I think Phil Jones is like our 6th choice centre-half, but I think we'll get rid of him. I think we'll also get rid of Rojo on a permanent transfer. We'll get rid of Smalling on a permanent transfer, like I've already said to you. We could possibly get rid of Delors. Delors only made one start in the Premier League this season. His appearances have been limited due to his injuries. I think it did save one around in the £30-odd million range if we are to sell him in the summer. We got him from Porto back in the summer of 2018. We got him in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window, Diego Delors. We paid £19 million in from Porto, but he's our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka. I think Lingard and Pereira, they'll definitely be moved on with Lingard and Pereira. Too inconsistent now with Lingard and Pereira, and I give you the news, didn't I, regarding Lingard the other day. Obviously, it says 4 Premier League clubs are interested in him. Lingard's got exactly now a year remaining on his Manchester United contract. but I think it did say we could trigger that 1 year extension on his contract. I think he's valued at around £30 million. But Lingard is the worst player we've got now because he hasn't registered a 1 goal or 1 assist for us in over the year. But yeah, I think Lingard and Pereira will be moved on. Yeah, I think they're the players that'll leave Man United, and we'll look to get rid of Sanchez permanently, like I said, or we'll look, to put him back out on loan again. Don't forget we've got Dean Henson out on loan. We're going to be putting him back out on loan next season, but we won't get rid of him permanently, Dean Henderson, because we do see him as a long-term replacement for David De Gea and that. But Solskjaer's confirmed that David De Gea will remain our number 1 for next season and that. So yeah, we're planning to get rid of around 5 or 6 players. Obviously, of course, Solskjaer, though, is planning to make around 4 signings in the summer transfer market. I don't think we'll make 4 signings in the summer transfer market, but we are planning to do that because Solskjaer believes we need around 4 signings to become title contenders next season. I think also, too, Ed Woodward wants to recommend around 4 signings in. And don't forget, quite a few weeks ago, Solskjaer did say, we will exploit the transfer market when it does open. So what it means in that aspect is that, he thinks we can get the right calibre players into the football club. He actually, he said this before Ed Woodward came out with that statement because Ed Woodward has been talking a hell of a lot recently. Because don't forget he came out last Friday, not the Friday just gone, 2 Fridays ago, was it? He came out and told the fans forum that, we will not do business as usual in the summer transfer market. So what he meant in that aspect is that, we won't be spending hundreds of millions of pounds where, he basically ruled out big transfers to Manchester United. But he came out Friday just gone. Was it Friday just gone? Well, recently, whatever day it was, I can't remember. But he did come out last week, I think it was, and says, we will remain highly competitive in the summer transfer market. And he's actually made a transfer promise to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So Solskjaer has got the backing of Ed Woodward and he's also got the backing of the Glazers. Don't forget Ed Woodward has said on numerous occasions this season that he's backing Solskjaer, and he said quite a few times as well that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe at the football club. Because maybe, Ed Woodward believes if Solskjaer's given the time he's demanding, he can get Manchester United back to glory. And Solskjaer's already identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up. He wants to recommend a centre forward in, he wants to recommend a right winger in, and he also wants to recommend a midfielder in. There's still some reports emerging out saying that he wants to recommend a centre half into the football club. I'm very, very sceptical, that we'll get a centre half in the summer transfer market. Of course, like I said, so far Solskjaer's enjoyed 3 transfer windows at the football club and spent £220 million on 5 players. Last summer brought Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. And in January, he recommended Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo in. So you've got to say he enjoyed a very, very, good. He enjoyed a successful January transfer window, to be quite fair. Because you can say the signs of Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo, they've saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job at Man United. I've already outlined a couple of things, that have saved Solskjaer's job at Manchester United. Don't forget, we was in a good vein of form before the football season got suspended because we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. But I think we have improved in the transfer market under Solskjaer. What I mean is I think we have been a bit more sensible with our recruitment. So that is one admission I am going to make. We have been more sensible with our recruitment, because like I said, we're known for overpaying for players, especially in recent years, and Ed Woodward, we've been very, very critical of him, not just throughout the course of this season, but for several years, with us overpaying for players. Obviously, the vast majority of the players we've brought in the last 6 or 7 years, obviously, haven't been the right calibre players for Man United. And we have recruited over 30-odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era. And Ed Woodward's been here since, 2012. So he's now into his 8th season at Manchester United, is Ed Woodward. But there's been a hell of a lot of problems with him, especially this season. We've also had a lot of doubts, about the club's ownership, the Glazers. The Glazers have been here, I think, since, 2005. So Glazers have been here a good, 15 years now. And I think they've taken over £1 billion out of the football club. Yes, they haven't that. So, there you go. But, like I said to you, Solskjaer does deserve more time at the football club. He does deserve at least a couple of more windows. I know I've been very, very critical of Solskjaer this season, but I've taken some positives from his tenure so far. I think his approach to the big games this season have been very, very good. We've taken 17 points against the big six sides this season. I think he's also promoted the youth very, very well because the young players have been given their opportunities this season. He made the right decision by putting Martial in the number 9. So these are the positives, you can take. I still think there's stuff he needs to work on. He needs to work out his best formation, does Solskjaer, because on a regular basis this season we've been going with that 4-2-3-1. He's changed formation a lot this season, but from my own perception, we look more expansive with 3 at the back, to be quite honest with you. But people have got different perceptions on it anyway. He needs to improve his approach to the games against lower opposition because he hasn't done so well against lower opposition this season. Solskjaer, he hasn't really had a plan A or he hasn't really had a plan B. So let's just put that into the equation now. But I don't know if Solskjaer has a foreseeable future for Man United, and I don't know if we can get our 21st title under him, but I still think he does deserve at least another season because it is a transition period and he's hopeful that we can get through this transition period and that. But like I said, Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. Of course, we've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era, and that was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. But we have been playing catch-up in the last 6 or 7 years, and we have spent close to the £1 billion range on players. Yes, but Solskjaer won't replicate Ferguson's legacy, but no manager will do what Ferguson did, and no manager will ever enjoy 26, 27 years at Manchester United as a manager, like Alex Ferguson did. We won a total of 38 major honours under the Alex Ferguson era, but Ferguson, don't forget, didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. But, like I said, even though we've been so inconsistent for so many years, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world with a fantastic history, fantastic fan base. We are the most successful team in England, 20 titles, 13 of them Premier Leagues, and hopefully we can win the league within the next 2 to 3 years. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so the last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. So there you go. And I've also, been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Jadon Sancho, haven't I? Like I said, I'm hopeful that we can get Jadon Sancho on the board, but don't forget we're not willing to pay the £100 million that Borussia Dortmund are demanding for the player. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.